here, the Frugal Crafter. Today I'm going to show you how to make this keepsake treasure box using embellishments that we're going to make with Plasty Craft. They're the sponsor of today's video, and I'm going to show you how easy it is to use this product. It's super fun, and I think you're really going to enjoy it. I'll have a link to go buy Plasty Craft at Amazon, or go check it out anyway, and a 10% off coupon code. Plus, I will be doing a giveaway of a jar of this on my blog if you want to go to thefrugalcrafter.wordpress.com and sign up to win. So this Plasty Craft is plastic beads, these little plastic pellets that you heat in hot water, and then it turns it into a sculptable clay. So here I'm just dumping that into some hot water, and you're going to want to let that set for 2 minutes. So here I could stir it up with my silicone spatula. You can see once you dump that in the hot water, which is about 160 degrees, it starts to clump together. Then 2 minutes later, it's going to be into a workable clay that you can sculpt from. Here are some of the pieces that I've already molded. I just used the clay in my silicone molds, my resin molds, even my polymer clay homemade molds, and even my paper clay molds, which are really kind of iffy. Those sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. This worked great for everything. My ceramic doll making molds, they were a little trickier because they're rigid, so it's just a little harder to get the clay back out, but it works just fine with those as well. So what you want to do is figure out what molds you want to use, and then you want to take enough plastic to fill the mold, but not more than you need. Roll it into a ball, and then simply press it into the cavity of your mold. Now here's a tip that I learned the hard way. It's better to have a little bit less than what you need and to add to it than it is to have too much and try to take away from it. Because once it starts to cool, and it does cool pretty quickly, it can be difficult to remove the excess. So here I'm just adding a little bit more so that I can fill out the design. Now it's going to take a few minutes to cool. This one is partially cooled. As I pull it out, you can see that it's kind of translucent, whereas the ones that are completely cool are back to a bright white again. So just to show you that so you'll know if it's ready or not. To prepare our box, we're going to coat a cardboard jewelry box with Mod Podge or white glue, whatever you happen to have around the house. You want to put a pretty good coating on it though. And then take a crumpled up piece of tissue paper or deli paper and press it into the glue. This is going to give it a vintage leathery texture. Flip over the box, and then we're going to cut out the corners so that we can easily tuck the paper around to the inside of the box. Then brush more Mod Podge on the paper and fold those flaps in and stick it securely to the inside of the lid of the box. We're going to put some decorative paper over that area later, so don't worry if it looks a little untidy. Now we're going to give our lid a coat of brown acrylic craft paint. So I'm going right in with that same brush I used for the glue and putting an even coat all over the top and the sides, right on top of that wet tissue paper. It's going to give it a wonderful aged texture, kind of like old leather, and it's going to make our Plasty Craft embellishments look amazing on top. While the box is drying, we can paint our embellishments. The thing I love about Plasty Craft is that it takes acrylic paint beautifully. I was really worried that it would be streaky and that the paint wouldn't adhere to the plastic very well, but it was just wonderful. I think it would be durable enough for jewelry too. I'm painting the larger flowers this peach color by mixing red and white, and then I'm doing these smaller flowers with a mixture of turquoise and white, and you can see that paint is just really sticking to my fingers too. I'm gonna need to wash my hands. I'm doing the leaves with a couple different shades of a green and yellow ochre, and I think that really makes a big difference, especially if you are gonna paint quickly. Use a couple different shades and it makes everything look a lot more natural and a lot more beautiful and just natural and nice. For this bird, I painted him all in white, and this mold, most of the molds I'm using are actually by Martha Stewart Crafts, and then I'm just using these other colors that I've been using for the other elements, and I'm adding it to the bird. I'm adding the, a red breast, kind of like a robin, but I decided I wanted to kind of have a bluebird, so I'm going to be adding some blue to that, and just pretty much anything that's on my palette is fair game for this. Because I painted the bird white first, it's really helping all these other colors I'm putting on top blend. And as long as I'm sticking with the same palette of colors I've been using the whole time, it's going to match and it's going to look great, even if I'm not looking at a picture of a bird to make sure I have it absolutely painted authentically or realistically. It's still going to look great. After I painted all of the embellishments, I took a damp sponge and picked up all that leftover paint and just wiped it on the bottom of the box. To add to the shabby chic feel of this project, I took a fan brush with a little bit of white paint on the tips of the bristles and brushed it over my flowers. It brings out the texture and kind of gives it a little bit of a distressed feel. I did the same to the green leaves, except I used a combination of yellow and a little bit of green so that it wouldn't be too jarring of a color contrast. And the same to the sticks. And on the bird, if you feel like it needs a little more texture, you can do a little bit of brown. I love building up layers on my project, so I took this really big clear flourish stamp and I'm just inking it up with acrylic paint using a makeup applicator. Now I'm using a piece of plastic packaging because it's going to have a little bit of give and squish to it, so it's going to make it easier for that stamp to be able to mark on that textured surface. And I'm putting my hand on the inside of the box and pressing too to make sure I get a good image. I'm really happy with the way that turned out. Now to add a little bit more texture and distressing, I'm going to take that same black sponge and I'm going to go ahead and rouge the edges of my design. And you can see it's picking up all of those wrinkles in the tissue paper. I just think it's a really pretty effect, and it also adds a frame around my design. So it's just these little bitty tricks that you can pick up along the way that can really pull together a piece of home decor art. I gathered some things I wanted to use on the box, like this skeleton leaf, and I'm just going to kind of place it so it balances out the stamped image. And then I also found some ephemera from some ATC ephemera books, and I'm just inking the edges of that little mini postcard with, again, that black acrylic paint. I like to use acrylic paint on home decor stuff because I know that it's not going to be lifted up if wet fingerprints touch it or anything like that. I'm going to be assembling this lid, everything on this lid, with my hot glue gun. Now I didn't glue down the leaf because I'm going to be overlapping things on the leaf and it'll get tacked down in several places with glue because of that. So now I'm just arranging my pieces and figuring out how I want everything to go. I find that hot glue works perfectly for gluing down these Plasty Craft embellishments. Even though it is a heat moldable pellet, it doesn't seem to be bothered by the hot glue, which probably is an advantage. It probably actually does remelt it in those areas a bit and help it bond more securely. So I'm putting on the bird first because that's kind of my focal point of the piece, I think, and then I'm putting the branches around it, and I'm going to follow up with arranging the rest of the items on this lid. I hope you enjoyed today's project. I had so much fun making it and I really enjoyed Plasty Craft. I hope you give that product a try because it is so versatile and so much fun to use. Here you can see with the bottom of the box that we painted with the waste paint, it just really sets off the lid. I think it looks incredible and I really can't say enough about this product. I really enjoy it. You can find Plasty Craft on Amazon.com. I'll put a link below in the video description along with a coupon code so you can save 10%, and don't forget to follow me on my blog, thefrugalcrafter.wordpress.com, because I will have a giveaway in the next day or two of a jar of Plasty Craft, so make sure that you sign up to win. I want to thank you so much for watching. Please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. And until next time, happy crafting!